the War Leader. We saw decks like this be fairly popular early on in the season, have sort of regressed. We had Jonathan Jobe make the top 8 of the Invitational when Return to Ravnica was the most recent set with something along these lines, but here it is back again. 2 copies of Dolmarine in this deck, Huntmaster, Restoration Angel, Smiter, all the quality green, white, red creatures with Aurelia capping off the curve. And you have Hugo...
Ezquivel. Hugo is playing Jund aggro deck. The things that stand out to me here is he plays 4 copies of Deathrite Shaman, which is not at all standard for your aggressive Jund deck, and he has 2 copies of Olivia Voldaren. Not the most aggressive creature, but he has Liliana, Searing Spear, Abrupt Decay, Victim of Night, 2 Strangleroot Geist, 3 Burning Tree Emissary, 3 Experiment 1, Warclan Rampager, Kessid Wolf Run. Pretty normal, I think.
And you see Hugo get off the start here on the second turn with 2 copies of Burning Tree Emissary, but
excellent
no follow-up.
Start. The only follow-ups he has are Flinthoof Boar, his 1 casting cost creatures, and Searing Spear. He really doesn't have a whole lot to cast with the red and green mana. You can't cast Strangleroot Geist.
And there is a Boros Reckoner.
He's got quite a bit of outs to it, though. Liliana, Abrupt Decay, Dreadbore, and Victim of Night. So he looks quite ready for the card Boros Reckoner.
And there's an Abrupt Decay to take it out. Hugo in for 4.
Kind of what I mentioned with the Jund deck is you can always choose to play certain removal spells for certain creatures. I mean, Searing Spear is not the best answer to it, but the other cards I mentioned are going to kill it dead every time. What's Michael's best play here? Probably a Huntmaster?
I think Huntmaster is reasonable against more removal. If Hugo's out of removal, then I think Reckoner is still a better follow-up here.
Oh, for sure. I think Hugo has another Abrupt Decay in his hand that he's probably going to cast here.
Yeah, I would assume.
I can't imagine he has a Liliana. He would have just played that last turn instead of the Abrupt Decay. Could have drawn one, though. Seems to be thinking quite hard about it.
It's possible that he wants to Abrupt Decay first if he had, if he's worried about Olivia or something along those lines in the following turn, like a good 4-mana threat. He may want to sandbag his Edict, but
yeah.
Another Decay to take down the Smiter. And the emissaries just keep trucking along.
Yeah, they're doing some hard work here. Restoration Angel could be a potential blowout here.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience playing against any deck with Restoration Angel. I really, with the Naya Human deck I played in the PTQ, just didn't even have to be blinking anything out. Just a 3/4 Flash Flyer was.
It's
just
very hard.
Yeah.
But it looks like he has a Gorklan Rampager here. The best card against Restoration Angel.
Yeah,
probably.
So we're going to see 2 trample across and 4 more damage, knocking Michael down to 8.
He's got Michael pretty low.
Looks like his hand left over is another land, a Liliana, and another Gorklan Rampager.
Not the best start he's ever had, but he's just plugging away. Removal, attack, removal, attack.
Right, and that was a turn where Michael needed something along the lines of Huntmaster or Thragtusk.
Yeah, I mean, a Huntmaster at any point is going to be devastating. Yeah. It's going to completely stop his offense. Another Restoration Angel.
It's going to get another Rampager.
It's a great result for Hugo.
So Hugo has attacked for 4 damage every turn, starting from turn 3 to now. Now Michael down to 4.
Burn and turn.
Yeah.
Just removing blockers and just attacking. I mean, that is the way he drew it up.
So we'll see. Michael has the ability to stabilize here.
Does Michael's deck have Thragtusk?
He has 3, yes. Oh, and Overloaded Mortars.
Wow,
quite
excellent,
good there.
Excellent. He's hoping to fade an Aristocrat here. I think I did see Hugo does have a Liliana in his hand, but he's probably afraid of Loxodon Smiter.
Yeah, but at this point, you have to feel sort of like the coast is clear. You might have seen that Smiter by now.
It looks like he doesn't know. He is worried. He's giving it a think here. He certainly is aware of the fact that Loxodon Smiter could happen. He chooses to use it still. It didn't seem like it was an automatic decision for him.
Sure, no. You're always worried losing the Liliana for nothing there against a 3-color, basically creature deck. The Edict is so valuable, but it feels, you kind of get a sense that there's a good chance the coast is clear.
Yeah.
All right, there's a Domri. Top of the deck reveals a Smiter.
Yep.
Good to know about for the purposes of...
Oh, yeah. And he holds it. Not the worst play.
Yeah, you sort of just jam up the Liliana here. He can't
Yep.
+1 it because obviously there's a Smiter.
Yep. He would have to discard one of his own cards to get it into play.
And there's an Olivia from this stage. Definitely has the potential to take the game over.
Oh, yeah. How many outs does he have? Just looks like 1 Mizium Mortars left. And he could have Miracled the Bonfire
Yes.
to kill the Olivia. Oh, wow. That's a good move.
We're fighting,
yeah.
pinging, so we're just gonna trade off here.
Yep. And Avacyn's Pilgrim. Hugo's last card is a Liliana, and he's drawn...
Another Liliana.
Searing Spear for the Domri. That's a good play. I would do that in his position as well. It is tempting to hold it because your opponents have 4 life, trying to hit another Searing Spear, but leaving Domri unchecked is just dangerous.
Especially with both players just kind of sitting around.
Yeah.
Top decking war.
You take your immediate edge when you can get it.
Yep. So Liliana will basically trade with the Smiter here, freeing up the other Liliana in hand. Doesn't tick up, so representing something good left over.
Oh yeah, he likes his last card. Oof.
And there's Aurelia.
Is it a Victim of Night? And it is.
Yes. Aurelia definitely had the chance to turn the game around there, but instead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need one more person for a Legacy Winnabox. If you sign
land
up
plus.
for Winnabox number 5, come see me over at the Side Events registration station.
Aurelia has seen infrequent play in the format, a little bit of blue, white, red Flashburn, a little bit of Naya.
Great draw.
Yeah. Strangle Rivergeist there, excellent here. It's going to require multiple removal spells or an excellent blocker, and Liliana has basically any blocker checked. So.
Yep.
So on to the sideboard of games, you have our Jund list in front of you.
Yep, his sideboard contains 2 Appetite for Brains, 2 Mark of Mutiny, 2 Golgari Charm, 2 Rakdos Charm, 2 Flames of the Firebrand, 1 Dreadbore, 1 Victim of Night, 1 Olivia Voldaren, 1 Garruk Relentless, and 1 Thundermaw Hellkite.
So I would assume that the expectation here is that you want a couple of Appetites, a little more creature removal, and maybe another Thundermaw under the anticipation that the game's going to go long?
Absolutely. We saw Avacyn's Pilgrim that game, so you definitely want Flames of the Firebrand. Something that can pick off the little mana guys is really enticing. Appetite for Brains is definitely good against a deck with Thragtusk and Aurelia. Dreadbore's great, Victim of Night's great, more answers to the Reckoner. Garruk Relentless is fine, Thundermaw is very good.
Mm-hmm. On the other side of the matchup, our Naya player can sideboard into 2 copies of Boros Charm, which I do not think he wants here, 3 copies of Selesnya Charm, 2 Centaur Healers, 2 Rest in Peace, a Purify the Grave, 3 of 6 Slimes, a Garruk, and a Thragtusk. I assume that we want basically Garruk, Thragtusk, and a couple copies of Centaur Healer, maybe? I mean,
Selesnya Charm doesn't look great. If my opponent has Burning Tree Emissary in their deck, I want Centaur Healer.
Yes.
If it's going to blank a number of aggressive creatures, then it's good. It's just going to be good value. The Selesnya Charm is kind of borderline. It's very good against a Blood Rush Gore Clan Rampager, but it's hard for that to really come up exactly perfect.
Yes.
Other than that, it's going to remove the Olivias if they shoot enough creatures to become 5/5s, which is great, and Thundermaw. So he probably is going to want that card.
So have you ever messed around with this sort of build of Jund? I think if you're playing much more of the Farseek into powerful 4s and 5s type of build, what do you think the incentives of playing a much faster version?
I think at Pro Tour Montreal, aggro Jund with Experiment 1 was one of the least played decks and the highest winning percentage. So it was like one of the biggest winners of that tournament. And since then, it hasn't really seen a whole lot of fanfare. I mean, you don't see it in top 8 or first place of the SCG Opens every weekend, but it is a good deck.
The mana base is fairly stable for a 3-color beatdown deck. I mean, that's one of the major problems with, certainly my experience with Naya Humans was the mana base was just not awesome.
Yeah, one thing I do see that I don't like about this deck is there is only, looks like 8 ways total to cast turn 1 Experiment 1, which makes a little sense why you only played 3, but also that's a card that you're going to want on turn 1 consistently.
So would you argue for just putting more basic forests in the deck on top of the Ravnica duels?
It doesn't look like forests hurt. I mean, forests are going to hurt your Victim of Night and your Liliana of the Veil. But other than that, also it looks like he only has 8 mountains for his Flinthoof Boar, which is also, you're cutting it a little close.
Yeah, but if you want to play Experiment 1, Flinthoof Boar, and Liliana, you're just going to be making kind of concessions in some places.
Yep, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too with those specific cards.
Yeah. So pretty interesting to see the Naya deck back. This is a deck that used to really prey on the aggressive decks of the format because we were just ramping into Thragtusk, Restoration Angel pretty quickly, and were able to play Bonfire. That was a pretty big incentive structure about 4 or 5 months ago.
Bonfire is excellent.
Sort of been off the radar for a while now, but the metagame, I think it's becoming a little more polarized in recent weeks. We're moving further and further away from mid-rangey decks, and people are moving more and more towards either Esper or beatdown decks. It's sort of the decks they're going to.
Yep.
I think Naya gets kind of outclassed against other mid-range decks, but if you're playing against a lot of aggressive decks, the deck's quite powerful.
Yeah. How much Naya Blitz have you guys seen today? I've seen maybe one person.
I think we saw one feature match. We've seen a lot of just the red-green deck, the Ross Miriam deck from the Invitational.
I like that deck.
I think that deck's quite good.
It had very powerful cards. It has consistent mana, and all of the cards just make sense together.
Yeah.
It really looks like a deck that just more people should be playing. It's just so attractive.
Yes.
Playing Thundermaw and playing Arbor Elf and Domri Raid, and they're just all great cards.
Yep. It's like Michael is taking a mulligan. But yeah, it's been very impressive seeing that deck on camera.
Absolutely. Does he have any forms of card advantage other than Domri?
I mean, his card advantage is all contextual. It's Mizium Mortars, Thragtusk, Restoration Angel, Huntmaster, which can be card advantage-ish at times, but he's not drawing any extra cards. No Tracker's Instincts, nothing along those lines.
I just think because taking a mulligan on the plate, he's got to get something going,
Yeah.
Looks like a Huntmaster.
Although this is one of those matchups where those kind of cards are worth multiple cards.
Oh, they are, absolutely. If I'm Hugo, I'm looking to kill this Avacyn's Pilgrim as quick as I can. You gotta really punish a guy while he's on the back foot.
And his hand looks to be basically a bunch of Farseeks and Haymakers from here, so if he had been able to kill that Avacyn's Pilgrim, he just can't cast anything, and if Hugo has any explosive follow-up, the game's going to be over pretty quickly. But now, Michael has a real shot to start deploying some of his more powerful threats.
Yep, with Hugo's deck list, he is unable to kill a turn 1 mana elf on the draw.
Yeah.
Cannot be done. Michael doesn't have a second land, but he does have a second Farseek.
Yep.
So,
looks
paying
like
life here. For
a Searing Spear.
It's a good move. Searing Spear doesn't kill that many things out of his opponent's deck. I mean, it kills Mana Guy, and in a pinch it'll kill a Boros Reckoner or a Huntmaster, but not the best trade in the world.
You see Michael's drawn a third land this turn to Stomping Ground, so we can play that and Farseek, and now Huntmaster, Restoration Angel will be ready next turn.
Yep, that is a great draw.
Thragtusk.
Yep. Hugo's best follow-up here is probably a Flinthoof Boar attack for 3, or maybe a Liliana of the Veil, but he's not even going to plus it because, again, the Smiters.
Says no follow.
This happens a lot in these kinds of matchups. People always expect to just have a perfect draw, but often just playing lands and saying go and developing with removal is just what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know you're not going to lose to anything crazy, and you can just destroy every threat as they come out, and just pace yourself. I think a lot of players, when they play these aggressive decks and they don't have their best hands, they kind of panic. They're like, oh, I got to get something going and do this, and it is often just best to wait.
Yeah. Although it's tough to play the waiting game against Naya because you're very quickly outclassed.
It's true. Hugo has no access to Thragtusk, and his only good answer to Thragtusk is Appetite for Brains. Huntmaster down. And no land. I wonder if he has a land clogged with Olivia's.
I see at least a Thundermaw in his hand.
Yeah. The good news is he's not going to draw a second Thundermaw. Domri is going to be problematic. When I play Jund and they play Domri, I always hope they miss and I can Abrupt Decay it quickly.
Yeah.
Because then they're not getting any crazy value on you.
But if Hugo's hand is just choke with removal, then Domri is going to be extremely powerful.
He might feel a little silly with that Dreadbore in the graveyard. Looks like he has one other Dreadbore, and his only burn is Flames of the Bloodhand and Searing Spear to actually just kill the Domri outright.
There's a Reckoner.
Great pickup. Thragtusk.
A disastrous turn for Hugo.
Yeah, really brutal. Not at all how he drew this game up. He's got 4 lands, though. His 4 drops are Hellrider, Aristocrat, Olivia, and Gorkline Rampager. And 1 copy of Garruk Relentless, which would be quite nice here. Just being able to chump block.
Take up the Liliana. Hugo discards a pretty useless Flint Hoofbore. Michael throws away a Farseek.
And by the way, this play I totally agree with. When you're behind, you can't worry about Smiter anymore. You just have to hope that they don't have it and get the Liliana going.
Yep.
Wow, Thundermaw, Restoration Angel, and Reckoner. That is an awesome
Yeah.
hand. That is just a totally stellar hand. This play I do find a little strange. I would like to attack Thragtusk on Liliana, hope to bait removal, and then Restoration Angel and go for the full blowout.
Just because you think the odds are pretty high that Hugo has cards in his hand that allow him to fend off this attack.
It's unlikely that he would plus the Liliana and pass and just let it die to a Thragtusk attack. But getting Thundermaw in play is also really good. Usually these Jund decks struggle to kill Thundermaw. And just does so much damage so quickly.
Although now we can kind of get out from under this by just, we have a spot removal spell, Liliana can take it with Thundermaw.
Maybe like a Searing Spear on the Beast and Liliana to kill the Thundermaw.
We're still swimming upstream to some extent because Domri is
Domri
closing in.
Domri is ticking up. Michael's hand is great. It's going to be hard for Hugo to clear out the board and get a creature to start attacking the Domri. A nice play would be Liliana -2, play another Liliana.
Yes.
That would definitely be a step in the right direction.
So yeah, trying to navigate through this board and get Domri off the table in a timely fashion is going to be very, very challenging for Hugo.
Yeah.
That's not even to mention that Reckoner plus Restoration Angel is left over in Michael's hand.
Also, Reckoner plus Domri.
Yeah, sure.
You just fight, and then you get to shoot something for 2, and just a very good interaction there. It is always rough when you're in a position like Hugo's. You're like, well, I'm losing, but then I have the Domri in the back of my mind just looming.
Yeah.
You're like, well, now that I get all this stuff out of the way.
The short and long term are both looking very rough.
Yeah. Hugo doesn't look to have any Bonfire of the Damned either. Well, Thundermaw is nice. Thundermaw's very nice here.
Sure. Definitely does some amount of work to alleviate the Domri pressure.
It's actually not going that badly for him.
He's very low on life is the issue now.
How does Michael remove... Whoa.
Oh, that's a combo. That's a combo. Aurelia off Domri, double striking for... That's a 16 spot, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll just about do it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I actually didn't even think Hugo was in that bad of a position there.
I mean, the problem was, he was behind. He, took some shots, and the dual lands he had to play untapped. His life total was actually lower than you would anticipate, kind of given the way that the game was flowing.
Yep.
But he got himself in range there, and Aurelia plus Thundermaw, it wouldn't even matter if you were particularly high. Those two are usually able to get it done together.
Yeah. Aurelia is really nice.
Yeah, no, it's
a great way to come over the top.
Right. It is. It's challenging, when that card got previewed. Cedric and I were talking about it on the at one of the shows we were doing together, and it's one of those things where the effect is clearly very powerful in a creature-oriented deck, but just how often is a creature-oriented deck really in the market for a 6-mana spell? That's the question.
Yeah.
But the Naya, this kind of Naya ramp deck, kind of checks off all the boxes.
Yep.
It's getting up to 6 mana. It's playing a bunch of individually awesome threats. Mm-hmm. It often kind of needs to close the game out quickly before Sphinx's Revelation can take over a game, and so it sort of checks off all the boxes that a deck like, it's basically perfectly slotted for a deck like this.
Absolutely. The fact that his deck has 4 Avacyn's Pilgrim and 4 Farseek, I mean, yeah, those cards are going to be good in your opening hand, and they're going to ramp you into a turn 2 Domri or Reckoner or whatever, but when you have 8 cards in your deck that are going to ramp you, it is surprising the number of times you'll just play a turn 3 Thragtusk or a turn 4 Aurelia. You're just going to have a lot of mana more often.
And once you get out in front with these kind of matchups, it's very hard for the other person to catch back up in similar creature matchups because they're on the defensive, and you're just kind of able to leverage your position on the board.
Yep.
The whole way through.
I think one thing I've noticed is for the removal that Hugo has, Searing Spear is not going to kill Aurelia. Neither is Abrupt Decay, and Dreadbore is a sorcery. So that card is going to come down, and it is going to do 6 damage every time, unless Hugo has Victim of Night.
Yeah.
So Victim of Night is going to need to kill Thundermaw or Aurelia. Those are both going to come down and deal a lot of damage quickly.
Yeah, and Hugo, I think, is in a tough spot in this matchup because he needs to both keep Michael off of his mana and win fairly quickly. He can't play just a one-for-one control-y Liliana sort of the game because Michael just outclasses him as you start getting to 5 and 6 mana so easily.
One way Hugo can win easily is if he just draws Falcon Wrath Aristocrat.
Sure.
Having that on turn 4 is going to make the games wildly different than when he does not have that.
Michael's deck, yeah, it's not actually that robust against Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. He has a couple sideways answers, but no real clean, efficient ways to kill it.
No. I wonder how his deck fares against the Aristocrats. Playing against a deck with 4 Falcon Wrath Aristocrat has proved troublesome for many decks in Standard.
Yeah.
That's just a card people forget about. They're like, oh yeah, Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. How do I kill that?
Yeah, we've had Sam on camera twice, and I got to watch one of his rounds while we were on delay, and Aristocrat it's just been a giant beating. Just every time I've watched him play.
People just get shredded by that card. They're like, oh yeah, I'm at 8 life.
Yep.
Where did it all go?
So Hugo hoping to pick up a good 6 here.
One thing that's awesome is Falcon Wrath Aristocrat with the Strangleroot Geist. It's a little green Doom Traveler.
Yes.
Land go. Does not have Experiment 1. Ooh, not the timeliest of bonfires drawn.
No. the
his
turn
one
draw.
miracle.
Yeah, that is the one bonfire in his 75.
Yep. Looks like he has a Domri, a Mizium Mortars, Restoration Angel.
A lot of spot removal.
Yeah. Hugo pacing himself yet again.
But this is the type of fight that I think is going to be challenging for Hugo to win.
Yeah, it is.
He doesn't have all day against the type of threats that Michael's going to be generating soon.
Whoa.
For example, Thragtusk.
Yep. Although Hugo does have, looks like a Searing Spear. Yeah, that's not the best. Having to expend 2 Searing Spears on a Domri after your opponent's drawn a card. That's an ancestral recall.
A Thragtusk, no less.
Yeah. Not just any card.
Yeah.
A Flint Boar here would be nice. Or a Hell Rider, but Searing Spear again.
Yeah, this is a rough pacing of the game for Hugo so far, and now we're going to Appetite, assume we're probably going to take that Thragtusk. Let's look at the hand. So we're looking at Domri, Restoration Angel, Loxodon Smiter, Bonfire, Mizium Mortars, another Restoration Angel, and a Thragtusk.
On the bright side, he doesn't have a land.
Sure.
But how often can he draw a spell every turn?
Right.
And have you be happy about it?
And anything that's not a land on top of his deck is likely to be a creature, which he then draws with Domri.
Yep.
So Hugo kind of getting squeezed by from both ends of it, and Michael again still at 20 under no pressure.
He's not even going to be happy if Michael draws something like a Farseek.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, well, now the snowball is going to start rolling.
Yeah. I mean, it seems very likely here that you had to take Thragtusk just because the game's going to go on for so long.
Yep. Having 2 Restoration Angel means you can't even deprive your opponent of a Restoration Angel. So it's pretty clear Thragtusk pick there.
All right. So Michael has just drawn another Thragtusk.
Yep. Hugo probably likes that.
Yeah. It's actually, if he's going to win it, if he's going to win the game, it's going to involve those Thragtusks still being in his hand when the game's over.
Yep. What do you think about playing Domri there over Loxodon Smiter?
I actually like it okay there, just because the odds that Hugo's hand is just all removal spells is fairly high. And again, if a land is on top of your deck, you're happy, and if a creature's on top of your deck, you'll be very happy that you played Domri.
Absolutely. So, one thing that's good to notice is when he played the first Domri, Hugo kind of had to freak out a little. He's like, well, I have to get that off the board. I'll use my Searing Spears to get rid of it. So you know Hugo has no clean answer to Domri.
Yeah. Oh,
nice.
This was awesome too, because the top card of Michael's deck was Farseek, so he can actually play this and Farseek.
Yep. He's getting right up to Thragtusk mana. Hugo needs a clock, and he needs it now. He needs a haste creature, a Hell Rider, or a Aristocrat to just attack that Domri. And failing that, it's going to be all in on Olivia?
Yeah, pretty much. You had to have Olivia and Michael to randomly have no out to it.
Yep.
But we know that he knows there's mortars and bonfires.
Yep. Mortars in hand and Domri on the table to fight.
Come see me over at the side events registration station.
Liliana. Making him sacrifice. He knows his opponent's mana screwed.
Yep.
Trying to pile on that is going to help.
He certainly can't win if Michael gets to his 5th mana source in a timely fashion. Another Thragtusk.
Oh, and he also knows that Michael still has a Smiter in his hand, so he can't plus it, and he doesn't want to leave it in his hand.
So Michael just waiting on that 5th land. Victim of Night.
Yep, Restoration Angel. Those are going to start coming down, and they're probably not going to stop.
Yep. And also, we're close to going ultimate with Domri too. I mean,
what doesn't the ultimate on Domri do?
It's pretty much everything. I've seen it go off. It's not good.
Does it give double strike?
Yes.
It gives haste. It gives trample. It gives hexproof, and it does give double strike.
Yep.
I think that's it. Yep, there it is. That is a nice one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we're going to see it next turn, assuming Hugo doesn't rip a huge haste creature now.
Yes. He has a Kessig Wolfrun in his deck to do a lot of damage quickly, but besides that, he has 1 remaining Searing Spear to do damage. If he boarded in Flames of the Firebrand, he could do that to shrink the Domri. Other than that, it's the Aristocrat. A nice turn would be Aristocrat, attack, Gorkland Rampager, deal 8.
Yeah. But even then, Michael still has a 6-card
his hand is
Haymakers.
stacked. Hand is absolutely stacked.
We're gonna plus it.
He knows about the Smiter though, right?
Discards a bonfire. Maybe he's just playing around.
He's playing around Museum Mortars.
There's a reasonable chance that play is suspicious enough from Michael that he's like, okay, I'm just not going to discard my Smiter and get swept up here.
Maybe Hugo's just decided to gamble.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I guess we can just cast another Thragtusk and attack for 20 in 1 turn. Okay.
Oh. I think the emblem may have resolved, and now we're attempting to
I guess he's responding.
Just a little confusion there. That token is going to have haste.
Yes. Yeah, this is 16 damage right here.
Yes, it is.
Michael's like 16, and Hugo's like, yep, 16. All right, that's 16.
Hugo goes, ugh, how much is that? Drawing. The walls are closing in on him.
Yes.
I do appreciate the Domri actual emblem getting a workout.
Oh,
here.
we come prepared here at Star City. we got all the emblems, all the random tokens.
Oh yeah.
We come prepared.
Yeah, and another beast joins. Oof.
Yeah, and there it is. Yeah. Michael wins 2 games to 1.
The Naya deck doing exactly what he wanted it to do.
Sort of got rushed out of the gates in the first game, but games 2 and 3, even in the second game, seeing a mulligan there for Michael, was sort of, Hugo's in this tough spot where he needs to sign in a reasonable amount of removal to contain what Michael's doing, but every piece of removal he has to his deck is probably 1 less creature, and it's also very hard for him to win the game if he's not clocking Michael early.
Yep.
So you saw in the post-board games, Hugo was just saying go a lot on turns 2, 3, and 4, even though he eventually started to do some powerful stuff, started removing a couple creatures from play, just not a recipe for success against Naya.
No. In the third game, I don't even think Hugo cast a single creature card.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list. I don't think he cast a single creature card.
Yeah, you had to wonder how much of his creatures got boarded out to just bring in more spells.
I was actually curious as